City Council meeting for Monday, March 8th, 2021. I'll do roll call by name. Councillor Clark.
Councillor Clark is present.
Councillor Castilla.
Councillor Castilla, present. Can you hear me?
Yep. Councillor Hutchinson.
Councillor Hutchinson, here.
Councillor Inman.
Councillor Inman, present.
Councillor Medina.
Councillor Medina, present.
Councillor Prachu.
Councillor Prachu is present.
And Mayor Knutson is present. Next is the public forum. Do we have any public comments in written form, or is anybody there at this time?
Councillor Inman.
We do not.
All right. Next is the mayor's report. I just want to remind new councilors that budget training is virtual this year, and it's on March 30th at 6:30, and then we will go into our budget meetings in April and May. This is a really good opportunity to learn a lot about our budget process and what we did before, what we do. I believe our finance director, Mr. Piper, is the one that does this. And,
That's good.
Yes.
And yeah, he shares a lot of good information. So obviously, if you've done it before, you don't need to do it again, other counselors. But if you're new, I highly recommend it. And that's all I have. Next is correspondence. Manager Amberg.
All you have is the Charter Communications information, and we have to include that in the packet because it's required that it goes to City Council due to the franchise that we have with Charter.
Okay. I don't see any questions on that. Next, we have the consent calendar. Is there any questions or comments on the consent calendar? All right. Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion.
I make a motion to pass the minutes, approve them.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Seconded by Councillor Medina. All those in favor, I guess I'll go around. Councillor Clark.
Councillor Clark votes yes.
Councillor Castilla.
Councillor Castilla votes yes.
Councillor Hutchinson.
Councillor Hutchinson votes yes.
Councillor Inman.
Councillor Inman votes yes.
Councillor Medina.
Councillor Medina votes yes.
Councillor Prachu.
Councillor Prachu votes yes.
And Mayor Knutson votes yes, so that passes. Next up is the administrative report, and that's Manager Amberg.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing is the February bills. I'd be happy to do my best to answer if you have any questions about the bills. I'm seeing everyone shake their head no. Then the next item up is the Lane County Sheriff's Calls for Service report, and I see Sergeant Denham is here, and he can answer any questions you might have on that report.
Councillor Prachu.
Well, it's great to see you again, Sergeant. I hope you had a fantastic vacation, even though it was pretty cold down there.
Yep.
Yeah. So I kind of realized that most of my questions would probably be more appropriate for Coffee with a Cop. So I thought maybe I would just ask real quick if you had thought about maybe starting that up again here soon, maybe when the weather is a little warmer.
Yep, the plan is to shoot for the end of this month, the last Saturday. I'll be posting that out probably sometime this week. And we'll do it at the park unless the weather is going to look ugly. And Al January has already hooked us up with the VFW hall to be able to spread out properly if the weather is going to be ugly. So we'll start it out announcing there. And if we need to change it real quick, then we can always post something on the park and on the Facebook page. So that's
Cool.
the plan.
It sounds like we're getting close to maybe being in a place where we could start doing those again, especially if at the park it's easy.
Yeah, the park's easy as long as the weather is not ugly. I mean, if it's like it is right now, it's outside. No.
Yeah.
But if it was like it was this afternoon, then yeah.
Right, exactly. I did want to ask if any of our deputies were involved in the high-speed chase that came through Cresswell. I believe that was Saturday night.
I don't believe so. I mean, there were Lane County Sheriff's deputies involved in it, but none from Crestwood.
Okay.
Tied up on something else, and it came through pretty quick.
Yeah, it was super quick. It was like right down on Fifth Street here by me, and I couldn't even get out there fast enough to see it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
They
I
headed
did
back
hear-
in, and because there was a planned protest brewing up in the Eugene Whitaker area, they decided to terminate, which is pretty general with what will happen if they start to go into a populated area. And Springfield doesn't like to play around in Eugene's yard because Eugene doesn't help them. So
Right.
Eugene's not allowed to get involved in any pursuit. So generally, if it goes into the city of Eugene, you're on your own.
Right. And lastly, I just want to ask my usual, any notable things regarding our homeless or transient population this month?
No, nothing notable. We did have one of our transients that disappeared about a week ago, and we've located. That's our dog guy, and we've located him down south in southern Oregon with his dad. So
he's safe. Good.
he's safe, and hopefully maybe he's getting some help.
Okay. Thank you, Sergeant.
He'll be back, but he's down there for now.
All right, Counselor Medina.
Yeah, I just wanted to check in and make sure, is there anything that, we should be keeping an eye on or anything new going on, crime wise or anything like that in the city that we should just keep our ear, or everything pretty standard?
We've had quite a few people that are calling in with some type of either ID theft or fraud, or so there's a lot of scams going on out there. So we're taking a lot of reports on that kind of stuff. Not anything that we can generally do anything about because they're from third world countries usually. But people are still, as many times as we put the message out there that probably almost everything you hear from on the phone is a scam, people still fall victim to it. And ID theft, you can't really do much about it a lot of times because you don't know where it comes from. So we still investigate it to the best of our ability, but those reports come in. Other than that, we've got some upticks in some domestic violence type things and that kind of stuff. What the reasoning is for that, who knows? The more people get pent up inside their houses, the more angry they get at each other. And
See, yeah.
we're doing a lot of plannings with the schools right now to help them deal with the new traffic issues that they're going to have as far as drop off and pickup of kids and that kind of thing. So that's all in the works, those communications and how we can best help them or how they can best make those flow without becoming a big problem and everybody complaining.
Yeah. Very good. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Sergeant Denham? All right, thank you for being here, Sergeant.
All right, thank you.
And I'll turn it back to you, Manager Amber.
Thank you, Mayor. The next is the city attorney's report. Does anybody have any questions about that? We're staff right now is reviewing the right-of-way agreement, so we should have that back to Maddie anytime now, and then back to Ross. The next report is the code report for February. As you can see, there's a heavy miscellaneous calls, and so he tried to provide some photos of the kinds of things he's responding to. You can see we have a sidewalk that's almost completely obstructed by bushes and then a trailer parked in the right-of-way. So those two things need to be resolved. Then the pile of car parts. And then the broken window is in this building across the street from City Hall, and he's been working with the building owner to resolve that issue as well. So there's no questions on that. Then you have your building permit report. And building permits continue to be steady despite the weather and the COVID downturn. So Cresswell seems to be a good place to come and build things or remodel things or install plumbing and electrical. So we're happy, we're grateful for that. That's good for us. And that's the end of the reports.
We will move on to council action items. The first one is adoption of performance goals for the city manager, and that's Manager Amber.
Thank you, Mayor. As you will recall, when we last met, we reviewed a list of goals that I provided, and I was instructed to bring that list back for approval. So it's before you tonight for approval.
All right, does anybody have any other questions or comments regarding the goals that we discussed at our last council work session? Seeing none, I'm entertaining a motion. Councillor Clark.
I move that the city council adopt the listed goals for the city manager.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second that
Cal-
motion.
I think Councillor Medina beat you, Inman. All
It's a
right.
race, everybody.
It's better than sitting in silence and nobody making a motion. So I'd rather more of you speak up than less. All right, we'll proceed to vote. Councillor Clark.
Councilor Clark votes yes.
Councillor Castillo.
Counselor Castillo votes yes.
Councillor Hutchinson.
Counselor Hutchinson votes yes.
Councillor Inman.
Counselor Inman votes yes.
Councillor Medina.
Councilor Medina votes yes.
Councillor Prachu.
Counselor Prachi votes yes.
And Mayor Knudsen votes yes. Motion passes. Next up is the resolution 2021-02, clarifying the authority of the city manager to execute documents related to community development block grants for the city of Cresswell. That's Manager Amber.
Thank you, Mayor. This is really just a clarification type document. It's a housekeeping resolution. In the past, you had already passed one of these for the housing rehab program. That gave me the authority to sign all the documents associated with the CDBG program. This came up again with the small business and micro enterprise community development block grant. And when I was talking to the state representatives for that, they suggested that we just do a blanket one that gives me the authority to sign all documentation. Otherwise, there's quite a few documents that we would have to bring the mayor in to sign at intervals that might not be convenient for the mayor. And so this is just a housekeeping measure that allows me to sign the documents. And I do have authority to sign contracts on behalf of the city council as listed in our city charter.
Please don't make me go into City Hall 5 times a week to sign documents if they can be signed by our city manager.
I will
My piece.
I will still need to come to city council for authority to apply for the grants. So you will know about the grants and I will keep you updated, but signing the various documents, it can be kind of, it's not very convenient.
The fun and tedious stuff, right?
All right, any questions or comments regarding this resolution? If not, I'm entertaining a motion.
Happy to.
Oh, Councillor Castilla.
I move that the city council adopt resolution 2021-02, a resolution clarifying the authority of the city manager to execute documents related to the community development block grants for the city of Cresswell.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Prachu. No other questions or comments. We'll proceed to vote. Councillor Clark.
Councilor Clark votes yes.
Councillor Castilla.
Councilor Castillo votes yes.
Councillor Hutchinson.
Counselor Hutchinson votes yes.
Councillor Inman.
Counselor Inman votes yes.
Councillor Medina.
Councilor Medina votes yes.
And Councillor Prachu.
Counselor Prachi votes yes.
And Mayor Knudsen votes yes. Resolution passes. Next up is upcoming meetings. Looks like Public Safety is meeting on March 16th at 5:30. The Planning Commission will meet on March 18th at 5:30. We'll have our virtual city council work session on March 22nd at 6 p.m. And then that budget trainings on March 30th at 6:30 p.m. And with that, we are adjourned at 6:15.